Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of High School Roundup. I'm your host for this week, John Sakaguchi. Joined with me, as always, Peyton Trollinger. Peyton, how you doing today?
I'm doing just fine, Johnny. I'm ready to get some high school roundup. Are you?
Yeah, believe me, it was a crazy week going through the scores and the standings. So we're going to jump right into that here as we take a look at our set of highlights this week. Sent to us from our friends over at the South Union Township. We had a battle for first as Laurel Highlands traveled over to play the Vernon Cougars, as this one got started early with Vernon getting on the board first. There's as a wild play here to start the game as LH got a fumble but was stall out in their own zone. Short punt, but guess what? Vernon's going to take it from their own 40-yard line up the sideline and through a wall of defenders to the house for 6. That would get the scoring started for the game, and that'd be the only score for the first quarter. Later on in the second, and little toss play there, bounce to the outside, got some blockers, and he's going to take it himself, set him up nice inside the 10-yard line for Vernon, and it's going to be a quarterback keeper from 5 yards out into the end zone, puts Vernon up 14-0. Then Rodney Gallagher going to find a receiver down the sideline, and it slips through the defender, whoop, and then into the end zone, and makes it 14-7. But Vernon wasn't done yet in the first half, as they're going to take it on the quarterback keeper, bounce to the outside, through some defenders, and he's got nothing but daylight and blockers in front of him. He's going to get knocked out inside the 5 with 30 seconds to go. Set up a 2-yard touchdown score here for Vernon. Puts them up 21-7, and that would be your score at the half. LH would open up the second half with a stalling on their first drive, but Vernon on their first series this second half in for 6, puts them up 28-7. Rodney Gallagher's going to scramble and find someone in the back of the end zone with the push, one-handed grab for 6. Makes it 28-14, but Vernon answers right back as he takes the defenders with him into the end zone, and for 6, puts them up 35-14. Shortly after, going for a 3-and-out. Nice little run play there by Vernon, and makes the score 42-14. Scrambling on the far side, he gets a couple of blockers. Drags some defenders into the Vernon territory, would set up this field goal to kick off the fourth quarter. Puts Vernon up 51-14. A little bit of an error on the score there. And then it's all day to throw it, but he's going to take it himself. Can't find a defender or a receiver on this one. Scrambles through a herd of Mustangs and into the end zone. That'd be your final scoring play of the game. As Vernon hangs on to win this one, and 56-14, your final score. What a wild one, Peyton, after we've seen LH be so dominant through the first 4 games of the season, or first 5 games of the season, and I should say. And then high school game of the week, we have Vernon traveling over to play Ringgold this week, so make sure you tune in this Friday night for that, folks. Mm-hmm. But
one thing I noticed about those highlights is that Laurel Highlands has really been dominant throughout this season, but they really didn't have any answers for Vernon at all. More in particular, the run game. We saw in the highlights, Devin Whitlock just all the time, just running. We saw that one play where he just trucked him into the end zone. There was so much time. LH didn't get the pressure on the quarterback like they wanted to, and not only did they not have any answers for the run game, but they didn't have any answers for the passing game either. And when you don't have answers for either one of those, you get a score like that.
Yeah, but once again, something we haven't seen all year is a defense having an answer for Rodney Gallagher, who's been the most dominant player of that Mustang offense. Well, I shouldn't even just say offense, just all around for Laurel Highlands. Mm-hmm. And the guy has ran for probably about as many yards as he has thrown. But up until this week, I think the only real true test that LH had was when they played West Mifflin. And West Mifflin is not an easy team to play against. But Belle Vernon, I think, was still riding that momentum from last week against Thomas Jefferson. This week is going to be probably the same thing with Ringgold, unless Ringgold can come up with some big answers.
And we'll find that out on Friday. And, as we said, you make sure you catch us on CUTV Sports. And it's going to be a pretty big game. Someone might be on the call for that game.
Yeah. But let's take a look at some more of the scores now out here, Peyton, from around the area. Opening up here with Franklin Regional, traveling to Connellsville, blanking the Falcons 36-0. Ringgold traveled to McKeesport, where they got blanked by the McKeesport team 41-0. Take a look at the next set of scores.
All right, we have a little bit of a close one here, and I believe this was a game of the week here. We had GREENSBURG-SALEM traveling to Hampton. Hampton just barely holding on to that win, 27-26. I'm personally not too happy about that one. But
either am I. I think all but two of us picked GREENSBURG-SALEM to win that game, and sure enough, we saw what happened. We'll talk more about the pick'em standings later on in the show.
And a good effort for the Tigers for holding on to that win. Up next, we have Mount Pleasant traveling up to York. Mount Pleasant coming away with the victory, 27-12 there. And let's take a look at some other scores around the league.
So we have South Allegheny traveling down to play Brownsville. Brownsville, who I said was probably going to score here sooner or later. Even in the alumni, Gary, our producer, doubted my thoughts on that one. As South Allegheny wins 63-6. South Park traveled over to Elizabeth Forward, where the Warriors had a shutout victory, 48-0. Take a look at the next set of scores.
Alrighty, then we had my Charleroi Cougars traveling to Chartiers-Houston to play the Buccaneers. Buccaneers able to hold on at home 27-10. And, I'm not happy about that either. I love my Cougars, but they're not doing the greatest. Hopefully that'll turn around.
Yeah, tough one, but still they managed to hang with the Buccaneers for the longest point of time.
Up next, we had the Commodores of Frazier traveling to Waynesburg Central for an exhibition matchup. Waynesburg able to get the victory here, 27-7, in a very good conference matchup. Next set of scores, please.
So, something I saw a lot of this week. There was a lot of forfeits this week. Wash High picks up the win, as BETH-CENTER had to forfeit this one, unfortunately. And I hate to hear stuff like that. And then Greensburg Central Catholic, they traveled to Springdale, where they picked up the win, 35-0, and which is a big conference win for Greensburg Central. Take a look at the next set of scores.
And here we go. Here's another forfeit. AVELLA was supposed to travel to California. The Trojans got the win. AVELLA forfeited. Simple as that. Up next, you had Carmichael's, the Mighty Mikes, traveling to West Green, and I'm also not very happy about this one. I thought the Mighty Mikes were going to get this one. They end up coming out on the short end of the stick. West Green takes it 41-20 in a very good game by them. We get some more scores here.
Take a look at this one. And I think should have been a game of the week. Jefferson-Morgan in a tight one and against Bentworth. Bentworth picking up the win and hold off the Rockets 49-48. Then you have Monessen and traveling over to play the Mapes of Mapletown, and what was a defensive battle there. We went from a barn burner of offense to a battle of the defenses as Mapletown holds on for the win 15-8. Take a look at the next set of scores.
And we have another game of the week here. It was supposed to be played on Friday, but it did get postponed. It was Uniontown versus Brashier, and we'll let you know most likely next week on who won that game. We also had another game of the week here. Albert Gallatin was supposed to travel to Southern Garrett. Southern Garrett actually ends up forfeiting this one. AG gets the win here. Let's get another win. Let's get some more scores here.
The Trojans of Derry traveled down to play the Scotties from Southmoreland, and where Southmoreland picked up a big win in 41-0. And then another one. This was a potential game that we had written down for a game of the week. Was McGuffey traveling to Lindsley School over in West Virginia. Lindsley School picking up the win in 26-21 and for the win.
And let's take a look at some more scores here. Looks like we're gonna have to send it to break here.
Yep, so when we come back, guys, we'll have the upcoming conference schedules, looking at the standings and our games of the week, see what we got coming up. So don't want to miss that, and we'll be right back after this.
Vulcan Volleyball is back, and you can catch all the action with CUTV and the PSAC network. After a year away from the court, the Vulcans are set to try and get back to the top of the PSAC. A full slate of action versus such PSAC opponents Gannon, Mercyhurst, Edinburgh, Clarion, Seton Hill, Slippery Rock, IUP, and Pitt Johnstown. Every home game will be live on CUTV Sports 1 and the PSAC network.
Welcome back, everyone, to High School Roundup. I'm John Sakaguchi. Joined with me, as always, Peyton Trollinger. So we saw some wild scores there, Peyton, but guess what? We're going to see some more wild stuff with the upcoming schedule this week.
Oh, I am ready to get this underway, Johnny.
All right, so let's take a look here. Starting with the 1A Tri-County South Conference upcoming games for the week. Bentworth travels to West Greene, California at Jefferson-Morgan, Mapletown at AVELLA, and MONESSEN at CARNICHAELS, and that might be a game of the week right there.
Definitely a game to look forward to. Up next is should be the 2A, 1A, excuse me, my fault, the Eastern Conference here. We have Bishop Canavan traveling to Leechburg, Clareton going to Amani Christian, then we have Riverview traveling to Greensburg Central Catholic. Another game right here, Springdale going over to Jeanette, and let's take a look at some more schedules here.
So we're going to move over to the 2A Century Conference now. BETH-CENTER travels to play your Cougars of Charleroi. The Buccaneers travel over to play the Commodores of FRAZIER. CHARTIERS-HOUSTON will travel up to FRAZIER this week. Waynesburg Central over to McGuffey for this one. And take a look at the next set of conference schedules.
All right, for the Interstate Conference in 3A, Brownsville traveling up to Mount Pleasant for a match. Then we have Elizabeth Ford going down to South Allegheny. And then we have the Yacht Cougars traveling down to Southmoreland to play a game against the Scotties.
So then we have the 4A Greater Allegheny Conference. And it's GREENSBURG-SALEM and Armstrong. Hampton travels to play a Plum. Highlands at Indiana, and Knox is going over to play the planets of Mars. We'll take a look at the next set of conference schedules here.
All right, for the 4A Big 8 Conference, we have a CUTV game of the week here. The Belle Vernon Leopards traveling to Ringgold to play in Joe Montana Stadium against the Rams. Then we have the McKeesport Tigers traveling up to West Mifflin. Up next, we have Thomas Jefferson traveling to play the Mustangs of Laurel Highlands, which is also going to be a pick'em game of the week.
Yeah, and that one still has some playoff implications there as we look at the next set of schedules here. Here's the 5A Big East Conference. Connellsville travels to play Latrobe, Gateway at Penn-Trafford, and Woodland Hills over at Franklin Regional. Take a look at the next set of scheduled games we got here.
And for our non-conference / independent games, we have Trinity from Washington, Pennsylvania playing up to Clearfield. Then we have the Uniontown for Johnny traveling to Wash High to play the Prexies. Then University High from West Virginia traveling to play Albert Gallatin. And I think that's about all the games we have scheduled for this week. Isn't that right, Johnny?
Yeah, that's all we got this week for the conference games. I'm looking forward to a lot of those. It's going to be interesting to see. Hey, but we'll be back after this, guys. When we come back, we'll have the conference standings, our pick-em games of the week, and our standings of the week. So you don't want to miss that ad. We'll be right back after this.
The Cal U Vulcans are back on the gridiron this fall, and CUTV and WCAL give you the best seats in the house. September 2nd at Fairmont State. September 11th versus Lock Haven. September 18th versus Millersville. September 25th at Edinburgh. Homecoming October 2nd versus Mercyhurst. October 9th at Gannon. October 16th versus Clarion. The Coal Bowl October 23rd at IUP. October 30th versus Seton Hill. November 6th at Slippery Rock. November 13th at Bloomsburg or the PSAC title game. All games are live on CUTV Sports 1, the PSAC network, and 91.9 FM, WCAL.
Welcome back, everyone, to High School Roundup. I'm John Sakaguchi. Joined with me once again and is Peyton Trollinger. We've talked about the scores. We've talked about the schedules. Now, Peyton, there's only one thing left to do, and that's we got to go look at the standings now to see how things shook up this week.
Oh, I'm not looking forward to this. For the standings, I thought we were doing the pick'ems first. My fault. 1A Tri-County South. West Green sits on top at 3-0 in the conference here. Then we have California and Carmichael's and Monessen all tied at 2-1 in the conference. Mapletown, Bentworth, and Jeff Morgan all in a three-way tie there at the bottom at 1-2. And AVELLA not doing too well at 0-3 in the conference there.
Yeah, still looking for that first win. And as we look at the next set of standings here, there's 2A Century Conference, and it says Wash High. He sits atop the conference, 3-0 in the conference, 6-0 overall. McGuffey right behind him at 2-0 with a 3-3 record. Third overall. Chartiers-Houston at 2-1, 4-1 overall. And then you got a tie for fourth place between the Waynesburg Central and the Cougars of Charleroi at 1-2. Waynesburg 2-4 overall. Charleroi 1-4 overall. BETH-CENTER and FRAZIER at the bottom, 0-2 in the conference. BETH-CENTER at 0-5. FRAZIER at 0-6. Take a look at the next set of conference standings.
Alrighty, for the 3A Interstate Conference, we have Elizabeth Ford and Mount Pleasant tied up there at the top at 2-0, both 4-2 overall. South Park and South Allegheny tied for that third spot at 2-1 in the conference. South Park 2-3 and South Allegheny 2-4. The Scotties right there, 1-1, 4-2 overall. Then you have the lowly Brownsville Falcons and the Yacht Cougars there at the bottom at 0-3. Falcons 0-5 and the Cougars 0-6 there.
Looking now here at the 4A Big 8 Conference. Vernon and now the lone holder of that divisional spot. 3-0 in the conference, 5-0 overall. McKeesport right behind them at 2-0, 5-1 overall. Right behind them is Laurel Highlands at 2-1 and 5-1 overall. TJA, which that'll be an interesting matchup to see how those teams shake out this week. At 1-1 in the conference, and it's 3-1 overall. Trinity at 1-2, 2-4 overall. Ringgold comes into this week 0-2. In the conference, 3-3 overall, and West Mifflin at 0-3 with a 1-5 record overall. Take a look at the next set of standings here.
Up next, we have the 5A Big East Conference. Not a whole lot of conference action here. Gateway, PENN-TRAFFORD, and Franklin Regional all tied for that first place spot at 1-0 in the conference. Gateway at 4-2 with PENN-TRAFFORD as well. Franklin Regional at 2-4. Then you have Latrobe, Woodland Hills, and Connellsville all there at the bottom at 0-1. Latrobe there 2-4 overall. Woodland Hills at 1-5, and Connellsville there at the bottom at 0-6. Take a look at some other standings here, and now we have the pick'ems.
So it was a rough week for me, going 1-4 for this past week. It would have probably been a different story if we had that Uniontown Brashier game, but we only had 4 games. So I stand alone at the top, 11-8. Bobby D right behind me at 10-9. We had a little bit of a juggling spot here in third place now, as Doug and Colin are tied at 9-10. Peyton and Dylan are now 8-11. Peyton falling down on the standings a bit, and Gary, who's determined to not finish last and messing with the graphics over there, or inside the studio booth. is 7-12, but I got a feeling he's going to end up jumping out of that last place spot. So Dylan and Peyton, y'all all better watch out. Which leads me to this one for our well, I'll get to that in a moment. Our pick'em games of the week for October the 8th. Ringgold at Belle Vernon, TJ at Laurel Highlands, BETH-CENTER or Charleroi, MONESSEN at Carmichael's, and University High traveling to play Albert Gallatin. And Peyton, this is a week, I think we have a lot of good ones. I'm curious to see how this is going to go. I'm actually going to take Belle Vernon and Laurel Highlands, Carmichael's. You know what? I'm going to say University High knocks AGE off for their first loss of the season as well.
Okay, that's pretty good. Shoot, I'm trying to remember the graphic.
And and I'm also going to take the Charleroi Cougars in this one as well, for the 5th game.
You got to take the Cougars. I'm also going to go with my Charleroi Cougars. I got to back them always. Definitely going to be going with Belle Vernon on this one. I got to look at the other games, but I'll definitely get my picks in before the next show.
So, this is also going to lead me to the new segment we have on here called Dang It Dorgy. So my Dang It Dorgies of the week goes to you, Peyton, and once again to Dylan.
Oh boy!
And sinking down in the standings, slow. Y'all, you guys had a good start to the season, but now we're starting to slip to the bottom, and I think Gary's going to be on his way up in the standings next week. We got to see what happens on Friday first.
We're turning it around this week.
Also, folks, if you have highlights or some sort of crazy play, something you want to see, make sure you send it to us here at High School Roundups. You never know. Your highlight, or in this case, low light, might even make the show. You never know. Send it in to the addresses below, and you could see your clip right here on CUTV Sports 1.
Yes, definitely make sure you do that, whether it's a really good play or if it's just a really funny moment. We'd like anything. So like Johnny said, make sure you send us those highlights to those email addresses, and you'll see your clip on High School Roundup potentially. Well,
that's going to do it for this week, folks. Make sure you tune in next week to see how we did in our pick'em standings, see what went on in the area. For Peyton Trollinger, I'm John Sakaguchi, guys. We'll see you next week.